Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I'm here to talk to you guys about Caio Borralho versus Makhmud Muradov. Borralho is 2-0 in the UFC, 2-0 in the Contender Series, and he's looking like a really good prospect. Really good prospect. So is Muradov in a way, even though Muradov's been around longer. He's 3-1 in the UFC, not as active. Overall, he's 27-7 or some shit. But a lot of his losses come before 2014. The thing is, his last loss came in 2022, I think. I think it was this year, and it was to Gerald Meerschaert. Might have been last year, but it was an eye-opening loss. You know, that was a fight in which I was so happy for Meerschaert. He's my favorite middleweight, and I was so happy for him and the way it played out. But Muradov should have knocked Meerschaert out on paper anyway. He was a big favorite to do so. One of the biggest upsets of the year, that fight was. And, that was an eye-opening loss because Gerald Meerschaert just insisted on making it a grappling fight, and there was nothing Muradov could do about it. He had a lot of success, Muradov, on the feet, and he's always had a lot of success. He's a dangerous, dangerous striker. A lot of great finishes, and he's carried that knockout power late, that Andrew Sanchez fight and whoever else. And, that's what makes that Meerschaert fight stand out. It looks like he just collapsed, but he did kind of collapse under the pressure of Gerald Meerschaert. The thing is, Caio Borralho is a very similar fighter. I think he's better overall as a grappler, as a reliable grappler. Certainly not as a finisher, but he's better overall than Gerald Meerschaert, and I do trust him more to get it down. He's a big, strong guy, although it depends on who you ask. One of them, Sherdog or Tapology, there's like a difference in like 3 inches in height, and I think he might be bigger than that. And Muradov is big too. I just do expect Muradov to be taller anyway, but Caio Borralho is, his striking is typically a means to an end, but he's tough, never been knocked out. I expect him to be able to stalk Muradov, and once he gets a hold of him, I expect him to rip him to the mat. It may not come so easily the first time, but it will come easily the second and the third. I think it'll only get easier, and that's if it gets there. This fight could end. The under is set at plus 165 for under a round and a half. I don't trust that, especially because of the way Borralho's been fighting. Borralho's a guy who he's 12-1 and 7. He's got 5 decisions, 7 finishes. His 5 decisions come in his last 6 fights, his last 6 victories. So clearly, as he's leveled up and as he's hit that UFC level or thereabout, he's been turned into a decision fighter by and large. And, that's why I don't trust him so much as a finisher. The thing is, on the flip side of that coin, Muradov, 7 losses, he's got 4 of them being submissions. And, of course, I can dismiss the other 3 losses, submission losses, because they've come like about 10 years ago, over 8 years ago. And he's a totally different fighter right now. But at the same time, it's not like he's lost a bunch since then, and it's always gone to a decision. He hasn't lost too many fights. In this fight, I expect him to be losing. And much like the Meerschaert fight, a submission is absolutely possible here. Even for a guy I see trending towards being a controlling grappling fighter, Ricardo Arona or whatever. Caio Borralho is he's headed that way, but he's absolutely got the jiu-jitsu to take out Muradov. So my bet for the fight is Caio Borralho minus 190, covers the decision and the submission. But if the takedowns start coming easily, especially in round 1, he's able to control him from the get-go, I do expect there to be a submission. So there's something to playing his submission line in round 2. But Avery, hey Avery, came by. Check out the video. All right. Now I got a pet her. But my primary bet is Caio Borralho minus 190. Muradov, when I first saw the line, I was enticed and I sprinkled something on him because, hey, he's that guy and look at his odds. But Borralho should win this fight. He should win it with his wrestling and his grappling overall. And I think it's a fight that will be trending in his direction, despite him not looking great in round three. He didn't look great in round three against Petrosian and against Gaji. You know, I don't know what happened in round three or whatever. It looked like, I mean, they were both kind of falling apart or whatever. But Caio was completely in control. He wasn't falling apart, but he didn't seem like he had that same energy. He seemed a little more concerned with his energy. And maybe that's what led to him getting sloppy and throwing that illegal strike, which probably should have been a DQ or whatever. But anyway, that went to a technical decision and he won it. So Caio Borralho is 2-0 in the UFC. I expect him to go 3-0. Minus 190 is my primary bet. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and I'll see you guys soon.